Welcome to LeadHer Talks, everyone, an open forum for women and those that support women to exchange ideas, network, empower, enrich, and educate one another. I'm Chantal Camarillo, and I am here with my amazing comadres, but honestly, powerhouse ladies, Vanessa Montañez and Rosario Lawrence, as well as our amazing guest who's joining us today, Noerena Limon. And we're all leaders, right? Ultimately in the mortgage industry. We've been, I would say combined a little over 50 plus years in the mortgage industry of experience, right? We shouldn't date ourselves, but really our passion behind what we do is about sustainable home ownership. And that's really the bedrock and the foundation that makes our job just, we're passionate about it every day to do what we do in our communities. So with that, today on LeadHer Talks, we're discussing the importance of voting, right? As a citizen of the United States, it's our civic duty to vote. But as a Latina and as a woman, why is it so important? Did you know that 2020 elections marks the first time that Latinos will be the largest racial or ethnic minority group? We're talking about 32 million projected eligible voters, of which 23 million live in 5 states, okay? That is what? California, Texas, Florida, New York, and Arizona. California alone holds a quarter of the Latino vote, or should I say the Latino electorate. Now for women, in 2018, 53% of the voters were women. Wow, right? But let's look at the backdrop of all of this that's going on, right? We have the civil unrest that we've witnessed or we've lived, right? And then add the backdrop of the pandemic, where now our traditional methods of voting, at least for myself, right, going to a booth, may not be part of what I'm going to do. It's going to be the mail-in vote. And so with that, everything has impacted the way we live, and COVID-19 has just really exacerbated all of that, right? So there's a lot of reasons why we must vote, whether that's education, immigration, healthcare, discrimination. The list can go on and on and on, but I see a silver lining in all of this. And according to PBS, experts predict that a record of 150 million votes may be casted, turnout, the largest presidential election turnout ever. So far to date, 17 million Americans have voted. That's impressive, okay? So bottom line, women, minorities, the record turnout of all these American voters that we've never seen before in terms of just the turnout that we're getting, right? That to me is just beyond impressive. And like I said, it's the silver lining. And that represents a collective power that we all have, right? Our vote is our voice. So with that, I am thrilled to have Noerena Limon, who is a trailblazing Latina who's dedicated her career as a public servant. And so I'm going to hand this over first and foremost to Rosario Lawrence, who's going to do a quick little intro on this just amazing individual who is here as a leader in her own right. So thank you.
Thank you, Chantal. And we are truly excited to have Noerena Limon. Who is Noerena? She's the Senior Vice President of Public Policy and Industry Relations for NAREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And so not only is she serving in that capacity right now, but her background is just amazing. She's a former policy analyst at the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, which we call the CFPB. And for us that are in the mortgage industry, we know that all so well. Doing research, market regulation, Office of Liquidity Lending. And while she was there, which I learned, she did not tell me, I just noted this, that there was a project she led, actually two, in fact, Know Before You Owe, which in fact, I actually worked with that in the field. So thank you, Noerena. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I used to put that out. That's amazing. So I was like, oh my God, now I'm really like hanging out with a rock star in my industry. And then Closing Time Initiative. Prior to the CFPB, She served various branches of the federal government, including the White House, and she also worked in the Office of Representative Javier Becerra. Her education is just stellar. She's a UC Berkeley grad with her bachelor's. Go Cal, right?
Go Bears.
And what is even more impressive is she's also obtained her master's in public policy with an emphasis in economic policy from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Just amazing, trailblazer, rock star Latina. I mean, you really have done so much. And a little bit about your background also, I kind of read in a couple of areas that, you come from,
you Googled me.
At it. Oh my God, I love Google. But your father raised daughters, all of you in elite education. I mean, just impressive. You're really, truly the American dream. And what a lot of us strive to have our children really grow to become and have, as people to look to is just beautiful. So I'm super excited, and I get to work with you through NAREP. So it's like a huge, huge thing for me, but this is Noerena. And so with your background, and we know a little bit now more, what exactly really inspired you and led you in the direction of the political world, the political career path? Tell us about how you got there.
Well, first of all, you are gonna make me cry, Rosario. So thank you. That was. I don't like it. I don't like what introductions make me nervous. Is I don't know how to respond to that. Do you guys feel that way? But you have been such an incredible leader for our organization, and you are really my partner in crime in the work that we're doing to mobilize folks from the real estate industry to be more politically savvy, more politically active, and you are just such a servant leader, Rosario. So thank you so much. It is an honor to work with someone who gives all of her heart to whatever she does. So thank you for that. In terms of your question, what inspired me to get involved in the political arena? Well, I mean, since I was a young kid, I was obsessed with history, and I always knew that I wanted to be a part of history. And some of the nations and the world's most historical events have all revolved around the role that government plays in a person's lives, in terms of history. And the more I understood, the power that we can have as a community, the more we actually flex our muscle. I knew like my life's purpose is twofold. Number one, it is to build the political power of the Latino community, because we, if we grow in numbers, and we are the fastest growing population, the Latino population is the fastest growing population. We just talked about some impressive numbers, but if we don't transfer that into political electoral power, we're never really going to have that sort of power that we that we should as a country. And so electoral power and also economic power. So if we build wealth in this nation, so those are the kind of the two main ways that we gain influence as a community. And so that's my life's work. That is what I am passionate about, which is why talking about voting is so important right now.
So voting is the cornerstone of democracy, but sadly, far too few of us vote. And we recently just celebrated the 19th Amendment, 100 years for us women the right to vote, giving us the right to vote, which we make up more than half the population. We're powerful women. And then additionally to what Chantal mentioned right now, the Latino market, it has a record of 32 million projected votes in 2020. We're going to be surpassing most of the diverse demographics out there. First time ever in history. So Noerena, why is it vital for everyone to vote this election, and more specifically for women and Latinos? Because I know you're the expert here.
Yes, so actually women historically vote at higher rates than men, surprisingly. And that's not, that's more important important than in other demographics than in the Latino population. Because if you think about the population, Latinas are actually tend to be more educated than Latinos. We have higher rates of education, and we also play, we're the glue of our family, right? So Latinas play such an important role, not only, and you know, Latino families, it's not just your nuclear family, it's your extended family, but really, you know, that role that that we have as Latinas to really influence what our entire family does is so powerful. And so when we talk about, and one of the things that I think campaigns should, you know, who are trying to reach out to the Latino community need to understand that dynamic, that Latinas, wherever Latinas go, the family follows. And so if a Latina head of household or Latina in a household declares that voting is absolutely important, you raise an entire family valuing that. You sit around, you talk about this new environment where right now we're doing everything electronically, we're voting by mail, but think about making an event, putting some music on, and you know, cooking some food, and all of us gathering around a kitchen table to research our ballots and having a conversation with our children young, and to have them ask those critical questions that sometimes you don't ask. You know, those questions about the why behind our positions. So have a conversation about the ballot initiatives, about the local city council, about the local school board, and research it together as a family. Have your kids do a sample ballot and have them ask them how they would vote if they had a choice. All of that builds a culture of voting that makes a huge difference in our culture, because right now, you know, the Latino population is very young. Our median age is 29. So when you're looking at the reason why we're now the second largest voting demographic, it's because of these young people. So we need to make sure that they're registered to vote. We need to make sure that they're voting, and we build that culture of voting. But the role that Latinas play in determining elections is astronomical because of our influence we have in our community.
I like that. I like the idea of having a fiesta.
Yeah.
Right? Because we love fiestas, and then organizing where your polls are based on your address. And then I like the future too, because the average age is so young, and you know, our youth is our future. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I definitely will be taking you up on that. I would say that's actually what we anticipate doing this weekend. We already discussed basically all the household here. My hubby, as well as my brother-in-law, we're all going to discuss the mail-in ballots, and we already, you know, I'm sure everyone has an idea of where we all want to vote and whatnot, but needless to say, it is a conversation to be had. And it's one that I think, even as I'm watching my son during his virtual learning, they're bringing up about the importance of voting and why we should not be complacent. And part of that is, you know, with the mail-in voting, you know, research where you should go, right? Your mail-in, your official drop-in boxes. And so I'm actually doing that far more sooner than anticipated, just because of all the noise we keep hearing right now going on, right? And so I definitely look forward to having that little get together with the family this weekend, because we will be dropping it off about a little less than a mile away from my home, the official ballot. So thank you for that. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, what initiatives or projects are you currently working on that inspire you every day, right? That you just, as a leader, right? And truly you are a leader, Noerena.
Oh man, all my projects. I think the two that inspire me the most is the work that I'm doing with Rosario, actually, which is how do we change the culture of a population that feels that getting ahead, that all you have to do is get ahead, is just work hard in your business, and thinking, there's so many people I think in our industry that say, you know, politics doesn't pertain to me. I just want to focus on my business. I don't like politics. Just leave me alone. And understanding, for example, NAREP, and all of you have a background in the organization, but NAREP is the largest Latino business organization in the nation, with 40,000 members in 100 chapters. And I think about the fact that if every single one of those 40,000 people were politically engaged, there is no other organization that would equal us. And the business owners, the fact that we're in this industry, I think makes us even more powerful. But we need to create that culture of being politically savvy, of voting, of being informed, being engaged, and having a relationship with your elected officials and keeping them accountable. That initiative, I think, is going to change the world. So I am so excited about the work that Rosario is doing, the work that we're doing with our leadership council and our national advocacy committee. And the second thing that I am super inspired by is our Hispanic Wealth Project. We are working to triple median household wealth for Latinos by 2024. And one of the things, there's two things that will make the biggest difference in terms of the wealth that Latinos build, and that's home ownership and the participation in retirement accounts, which is something that Latinos under participate in. So we are going to be doing a big campaign around that, and obviously we're trying to get to a 50% home ownership rate for Latinos by 2024. So that initiative, again, making Latinos the most powerful political group in the country and building our wealth. I mean, it's what I'm dedicating my life to, and it makes me excited to get up every day.
That is so beautiful and awesome, because I get to work with you with that, with one of your passions. So it only pumps me even more. But overall, you're absolutely right, Noerena. You would be proud. I almost texted you one night when my son sat at the kitchen table. Aww. And he was filling out his, voting and all that. That was really a really good moment for me. And the other thing, you're absolutely right, our children, having those conversations with them, and having them, say, hey, you know what, I want to know a little bit more, because I don't know that, I don't trust you, Mom, but I want to research. So yeah. That is so powerful and a proud moment for, I'm sure, a lot of parents that kids are asking those types of questions. So one last question, Noerena. What does being a LeadHer mean to you?
Oh, wow. So being a leader is a LeadHer, but a leader in general to me is being brave. And it's about changing the conversation. When you look at a group, I just watched a very old movie the other day called, 9 Angry Men, I think, or 11 Angry Men, but it's this old movie where they're trying to decide on a jury, on the decision on a jury. And the whole movie, if you analyze it, it's really easy to go with the herd. And it's really easy to just want to be liked, and to think about, what is the momentum throwing you to. But a LeadHer takes the moment and changes the conversation and allows for a group of people to take a stand and for a group of people to think about the solution and think about a problem in a different way. And that is, you question the way that you're doing things, and you think of the bigger picture. So a LeadHer is someone who seizes their power and understands just the innate power that we all have inside of us, and isn't complacent with just being another person following a herd.
Very well said. And I definitely would commit to seizing that power, because you're absolutely right. As a leader, that's what we're here to do, find a solution, right? Clearly, we will have obstacles and problems that we need to overcome, but very well said, Noerena. Just amazing responses all around. I just want to say thank you again for joining LeadHer, and you're clearly a LeadHer. They have you.
I love that. I love that. By the way, one more thing. Please go to vote.gov. Vote.gov is probably the best website to find out about your voting information, from where to mail your ballot, to if you can register to vote on election day in your state. Vote.gov, highly recommend it. So make sure that you check your voter registration and you're ready, and know your rights also when you're voting, because if you're going to vote in person, make sure that if you're standing in line to vote, that even if the poll's close, you have a right to cast that vote, even if it's 4, 5, 6 hours after they close the poll. So Make sure you also look out for voter intimidation. There are legal attorneys you can call if that's happening. So vote.gov will have all of that information. Know your rights, cast your vote, and influence your entire family. Make sure they vote.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Noerena, for joining us. All the resources you gave are just great. We will post them here below. We're really on the eve before we really get out and vote. So everybody, thank you. And again, from the bottom of our heart, we're so happy that you were able to join.
Wish you could give you a hug.
I know, and we're wrapping it up. And thank you so much again, Noerena. We'll be in touch. Great job, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, everyone. Please vote.
Please vote.
Go vote.